Hello, hello. It's Ori Krug here, coming to you live from my kitchen because I'm just too lazy to walk up the 5 steps to go up to my office. Anyway, here we are. And today I am talking to you about how saying no saves relationships, but also saying yes does the same thing. You just have to know when it's the right time to say each one. Now, I know that sounds confusing, but it's actually quite simple depending on you and your relationship. So, we know that saying no, we know that there's no healthy relationship without no, because if you don't or can't say no to your partner, then you're not going to get any of your needs met, right? So you'll be able to keep the peace, but meanwhile on the inside what ends up happening is like you're kind of dying on the inside because nothing that you want is being met, and you continue to sacrifice what you want, just to avoid conflict, right? So saying no saves relationships because you don't build up that resentment. And also, even if your partner has some sort of like they get some benefit out of you saying yes all the time and not saying no, it actually takes away the spark from relationships. It really dims that fire and that passion, because even though they might kind of like it right now, like great, she goes along with everything, right? That there's a real spark and passion and fire that comes from butting heads, right? Like the conflict is a mirror for our fight responses in our nervous systems. And that is like an activated response. That is the same response that we activate when we're having sex. So if that's always turned off, then things aren't going to be very sexy. Things aren't going to be very intimate or exciting in your relationship. So saying no is one of the most important things that you have to do in your relationships, both you and your partner, in order to keep the spark alive, in order to connect on an even deeper level than perhaps you ever have before. And that's not your fault when you're holding on to old trauma, and saying no in the past has resulted in negative consequences, some that are very, very dangerous and even life-threatening depending on the severity of your past trauma. So that being said, it's also what also saves relationships is saying yes. So not just saying yes, but the freedom to change your mind. So let's say you set a boundary, you say no, and then you check in with yourself. You really know, you're like, actually, I don't want to say no to that. I really want this. For example, I was just talking to Aaron just like a half hour ago, and I wanted to go to this event tonight that I originally said no to. And he was like, well, like, I thought you didn't want to go. I made these plans. And it's like, well, I do. I have the freedom to change my mind. And being able to go through that together, to navigate that together, is really important as a couple, because as you know, in this life, there's no, like, we can't predict everything. We get twisted, turned around when shit happens in our lives. So for us to experience those little like turn in the road or like change of direction, and we can navigate that together as a couple, really, really makes a relationship much, much stronger, really makes that foundation super strong, so that when things do happen, it's much easier and you don't get as triggered and you don't fall apart. Now, what's even more like amazing about having the freedom to change your mind and your boundaries, there's a story from one of my clients who, when we were working earlier on together, she got in a fight with her husband, and it was late at night, they were about to go to bed, and he was like, I'm out of here. Like, I'm leaving. I'm sleeping on the couch. And she's like, all right, fine, go, get out of here. And like, not even 5 minutes after he left, she was like, I feel so lonely. Like, I'm so upset. I just really want him here with me. Even though I'm so mad at him, like, I just want to be in his arms. I want his comfort. And so she changed her mind in this way, right? She's like, yeah, get out. And then she's like, no, wait, I really want you. And so she went out to the couch. She put her hand out and she said this was the hardest thing that she's ever done, and invited him back in. Now, when you've experienced old trauma, you've been rejected and shamed and just real put down, whether that happened in your childhood or that happened in relationships in your adulthood, that really is the hardest thing ever, to be rejected and then to ask to come back in. Like, that is so, so hard, because when you're holding on to old trauma, especially, like, your body and nervous system do not know the difference between what happened in your last relationship and what's happening now. And so you actually do need to release that trauma in order to put your hand out and be like, come back in. I need you. I want you. Let's get through this together. And this saved her relationship, because it wasn't only that event that changed everything. It was that event that changed everything, that from then on forward, not only was it her who put her hand out metaphorically and physically, but then he could do the same. So when they got into fights, when they got into conflict, instead of pushing each other away and going in the other direction, they came together. And that is the most important thing that needs to happen when you do get into conflict together, right? To not push each other away and build that wall up more and more, but to actually be able to navigate that together. So it's so important to have the freedom to say yes, to change your mind, to be like, get the F out, to never mind, I want you back, like, come back here, let's get through this together. As vulnerable as that is, it is so, so important. I say this is simple because you really just have to be able to tune into your body, right? And like, be really honest with yourself when you feel, and when you're connected to your body in a way that is based on this present moment and not on old trauma and not on fear that's manifesting from old trauma, you can feel into your body like, no, this is not okay with me. And then you have to follow through and say that, right? You can also tune in and be like, oh, you know what? I actually do want this. Even though I said no, I really do. And so if you're really connected with yourself and you're really honest with yourself, it is really simple to know when to say yes and when to say no in your relationship. Now, if you're still holding on to old trauma, it's basically impossible to tune into your intuition, because it's only fear that's taking over. Fear and intuition can't coexist, because intuition is feeling into what's right, but fear, especially coming from old trauma and having a nervous system that's overreactive, is just telling you that everything is dangerous, right? The way my partner said that thing, the way they looked at me that way, the way that they blah, 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 like, it's all fear, it's all alarm system going off. And there's no way to tune into your body in a way that's present, that's based on today and right here, right now. So, you do need to be able to tune into your intuition. And in order to do that, you have to release old trauma that is making everything, like, basically hijacking your body in the moment. And as much as, maybe you've heard this video and you're like, yeah, that's great, I'm going to try that. There's no amount of talking or understanding this intellectually that will change that, because your trauma, all of our traumas, are stored in the part of our brain that has no understanding of words, that never was stored in words. So there's no way to resolve this in words. We have to access and release it safely and gently from our bodies, from our non-verbal parts of our subconscious. So I would love to talk to you and support you in understanding what exactly you need to do, because you are a unique person, your body is unique, your nervous system is unique, and what you need to do in order to release your trauma and rewire your nervous system is different than what someone else has to do. So we've worked with many, many, many clients, and even though they come with the same or very similar issues, it looks so different for every one of them. So I'd love to invite you to book a free and obligation-free call, a relationship review with me or my team, in order to find out exactly what you need to do to shift from a paradigm of struggle and going around and around in circles, stuck in your trauma and in fear, to one of deep, loving connection, where you can fire up that connection with your partner by saying no, but also coming together and navigating that conflict beautifully together in a way that brings you closer than ever before. So that there is a link in the headline of this video where you can book a free and obligation-free review with me or my team. And this will also be, we will also get to decide if you are a suitable fit for our Wired for Love group program coming up. There's only 4 spots available, and regardless if you join, regardless if you are a good fit or not, we can get on the call and you can find out the exact steps that you need to do next for you in your relationship, so you can save your relationship and take it to the next level of joy and connection. So click on that link, and I would love to talk to you soon. Bye.